keep our fingers.
It is 6 o'clock. I'll call our meeting to order. Rob, call the roll, please.
Ms. Least.
Here.
Mrs. Sweet.
Here.
Mr. Bear.
Here.
Mr. Whitaker.
Here.
Mr. Avery.
Here.
Mr. Hannah.
Here.
All members of council are present. Please join me in pledging allegiance to our flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This is the regular session of the Enon Village Council, Tuesday, May 28, 2024. Any additions to our agenda this evening?
Old business, Enon Park.
Mr. Hannah, Enon Park, under old business. Anything else?
Assistant on the year.
All right, let's go to the minutes of the Tuesday, May 14th meeting. And if you are satisfied with the contents of those minutes, I'd ask for a motion and a second to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Sweet.
Yes.
Mr. Bear.
Yes.
Mr. Whitaker.
Yes.
Mr. Avery.
Abstain.
Mr. Hannah.
Yes.
Ms. Least.
Yes.
Those minutes are approved as presented. We'll go in to our financial. Rob, do you have any finances for this evening?
Financials were approved at the last meeting, so
Okay.
we'll have our bank statements and the May financials at the next meeting. Report from me is there is an ordinance that they're under new business for the park fund,
And let's go ahead and just do that now.
and I can okay.
Yep.
It is here for your review. After discussions with the Auditor State's Office, I think I've got it in a form that is going to serve the purpose that we want. So the process will be, assuming that this is passed in the affirmative, that an endorsed copy of this, an original copy of this, along with the checklist that I included in the email, will be sent to the Auditor State's Office for their review and approval. You'll notice one line in there that may have thrown you off that says these funds are explicitly not held in trust.
Right.
There is a different agreement in place and a different statute for holding funds in trust, and I don't think we want to get in that business because that's not held in trust for our benefit. That's held in trust for the benefit of some other entity or individual. So someone could bequeath something that we would hold in trust for them and then apply that to whatever purpose they want. But I think for our purposes for now, just having this donation fund is the business we need to be in.
Okay.
Remember, this is going to be housed just like all other funds in our ledger, and you'll see it on the reports once it's approved. This type of fund is not allowed to accrue interest, so the only receipts that you will see in there are actual donations that are made into the village.
And let's emphasize, this is not a separate account that will be sitting down at West Banco. Okay, I know you mentioned that previous, but let's just make sure everybody's clear on that.
It is pooled with all the other assets that we have.
Right.
So if you think about it, some of it will be in West Banco, some of it will be in Star, Ohio, but it's just intermingled with everything else. But
Right.
this allows us to account for it.
So how would people make a donation to it?
Just to the village of Enon, and then in the memo line or in the letter, tell us the purpose.
Then we would just put it into that
we just receipt it
line
into
of
that
accounting.
fund.
Okay.
Well, we'd receipt it into the regular bank account, and then
Right.
on the books, it would show here.
Okay.
And then you'll notice it was in the. It's not. It doesn't call for it in the ordinance, but in the checklist that I provided, the purposes that we put were design, development, construction, and maintenance of a park
Yes.
on the land purchased or the adjacent park and recreational area owned by the village. So if those are incorporated into one entity, incorporate is not the right word. If we make one big part and part of that land is the existing land that the village owned, these funds could go to construct something on there. Or if you had a ball diamond in a parking lot and part of it was on the new parcel and part of it was on the old parcel, we wouldn't be in any trouble about having to divest those funds.
Section 2, I think, addresses what you just said.
Yep. Oh, I did use those.
You did put it
those
in
words
there.
there
Yeah,
too.
I thought I read it in there.
Yep. And then there's the language in there that it's maintained as all other funds maintained by me for the village are, because there are different rules for, like, the chief has an account that is outside of my books. The water account, when those funds come in originally, are outside of my account, so they're accounted for a little differently. So there is a difference.
I'll move that we waive the 3 reading rule.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Bear,
Yes.
Mr. Whitaker,
Yes.
Mr. Avery,
Yes.
Mr. Hannah,
Yes.
Ms. Least,
Yes.
Mrs. Sweet.
Yes.
We need a motion and a second to pass this ordinance 2024-01.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? Any discussion at all? Any questions? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Whitaker,
Yes.
Mr. Avery,
Yes.
Mr. Hannah,
Yes.
Ms. Least,
Yes.
Mrs. Sweet.
Yes.
Mr. Bear.
Yes.
Thanks, Rob, for taking care of that.
Thank you. Just for the public's benefit, we can't take any donations yet until it's approved by the state. So once we get that, we can announce that so people can give us money.
And I think you explained all that at the last meeting, but just briefly, it goes to the state of Ohio to get their blessing. Then it goes over to Clark County Auditor's Office. Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else? Any questions for our fiscal officer? Okay, seeing none, let's go into staff reports. Kevin, good evening. I'll turn it over to you.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, residents. Item number 1 there on my agenda, the wastewater line project is going real well. We're 2 weeks in. They are bored down to Speedway Drive currently. Their next bore will be from the railroad back to Speedway Drive. They're going to kind of jump to the railroad and come back on the, I should say, the south side of the railroad back to Speedway Drive. Then they're going to set some catch basins, some structures. The last week of the project, they're still planning on, barring any unforeseen circumstances, a month. So we're 2 weeks in, so a couple more weeks. So the last week of the project, then they're going to go to the north side of the tracks and bore kind of up the hill. And then they're going to bore underneath the tracks and tie in at the plant that last week. A lot of work in the last week. They say they can get it done. Boring underneath the tracks and tying into the water plant. So we'll see. But they're thinking they can get that done. That much done in that last week. But everything's going good. Everything's going good. Company's good to work with, and they're moving right along. So.
And just a quick heads up, during that period, at least parts of that period, our softening system will be shut down, so residents will experience water that's harder than usual.
They could,
So,
yes.
because of that.
Yep.
So, and some people really notice when the consistency changes. So, yeah.
Yep. So, but like I say, overall, it's going pretty good. So, haven't had any issues. Knock on wood. So, item number 2, roof update. That kind of one day last week. It was probably Wednesday when it rained or whatever. We noticed some ceiling tile that was wet. Got up in there. The insulation was wet. So I had a roofing company come in and do an inspection of the roof. They crawled up there around one of the vent pipes. The shingles was bad and the seal was bad. So we thought that was it. They fixed it, put new seal, new flashing up around one of the vent pipes. The next day, no rain, and it was like leaking through 3 and 4 spots. We had trash cans in here catching water, so we knew it was something wrong with the air conditioning system, So called Houck Brothers. They came in after hours, didn't charge us any after-hour charges, but they came in, and for some reason, they told us that the ceiling settled, which I do not understand that, which in turn tilted the drain pan, and the water was coming off the drain pan down through the ceiling. He got up there Friday and Saturday, wrapped pipes, cleaned everything up, and they finished up today. So hopefully that will take care of that issue.
But we don't have a leak in the roof.
We do not have a leak in the
Okay.
roof. I mean, it was bad around that pipe, but
Sure.
that was not the cause of it.
Okay.
He did take some shingles down and replace a few shingles, and he said our roof's going to need replaced here someday soon, because of the it's laying back there. So, but no, the roof was not leaking. So.
Okay, good.
So everything's good to go. I just have to replace a couple more ceiling tile, and that'll be good. I met with Olivia today, the Eagle Scout, doing the flagpole project. She did call Oops. They have until Tuesday, I think. Oh, she called Thursday this week. I'm sorry. To get it marked, and she'll be ready to go. I did call a different company other than Carrot Top to order the flagpoles. This company was a little bit cheaper, so they're sending me an official quote, and we'll get those flagpoles ordered. Usually, they said it takes about 4 weeks to get those flagpoles in. So, in the meantime, I'm going to try to get this one out of the ground and just kind of get ready for her to start moving things. She did request the use of a dump truck to haul the dirt that she excavates. I said we can haul the dirt back to the park rather than her shoveling it in a truck and out of the truck. I said we'll just use the dump truck and make it a lot easier. So she's planning on hand digging with her helpers. So I said if there's anything else we could do, let us know. This will give her a good experience of leadership and stuff. So I said, yeah, that's fine. And her grandpa was in here today too, so he was pretty
When does she
helpful.
expect it to be completed?
Once she gets started, it was going to be a couple weeks. It's going to move right along as long as everything falls into place. So naturally, you don't want to excavate any holes until we get the sleeves, and that way the holes aren't open for quite some time. So it's going to be a kind of a challenge, to order the material and have her dig and stuff. So, but it should go pretty quick. So
Okay.
She kind of give me a little itinerary of her list there, of things that she's planning on doing. So.
Question, Mrs. Sweet.
It would be nice if it were done by the 4th of July.
We
It's
can
more than
shoot for
2
that,
weeks.
yes.
And also make sure she knows about the overhead wires and lines and electricity when she takes this one out.
She's not taking that one out.
Or
We are.
whoever does, whoever takes it out, keep safe.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
don't need
yeah.
any accidents.
I did receive the other quote for the storm sewer, Green Vista storm sewer extension study project. So I will be reviewing both of these with the mayor and Jason as well, and just kind of make sure we're comparing apples to apples. And then I will get back to you on that. So, other than that, mowing season's here and 4th of July is coming. So there you go.
Questions for our administrator? Thanks, Kevin. Appreciate it. Chief, good evening. I'll turn it over to you.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, and residents. May 20th through June 2nd is our National Click It or Ticket campaign. The state of Ohio requires that every person in a vehicle driving a car needs to wear a seatbelt. That is a secondary offense, though, so the officers would have to have a primary reason like speed or some other traffic infraction to make a traffic stop, but obviously wearing a seatbelt saves lives and prevents injury, so it is a national campaign. I was out with the Clark County EMA week of our last council meeting. We had a little test. I think I sent the email out to you. It was a little drill where 4 officers sat in the car, so myself and 3 Springfield officers. Turns out Greene County had the record for it, but we beat them, so we're happy to do that. But it was a nice little get together, all law enforcement, to kick that off. So anyway, if you see people not wearing their seatbelt, please remind them to do that to save lives. So, and we'll be out trying to take extra enforcement on that just to educate people, and then for that. We had our parade Sunday, had a handful things we had to respond to during the parade, but it all went well. Officers did great, community did great. I thought the parade stayed together nice and tight this year, and I just want to thank everybody who participates in that. And
How was the turnout from the public, people on the streets and stuff?
I think it was pretty good. We
Good.
had some weather forecasted, but it was held off for us. That was nice. And then a lot of people at the end of the floats, they pulled off adequately out of the way. It was just, I think it went really smooth. So the participants and the staff, I just thought that went great. So I just want to thank everybody that participated in it, and also for keeping in mind of other people around, like the floats moving up and all that. So I thought it went well.
Good.
National Night Out, I'd reached out to you, Mayor, and I'd spoke with Councilman Hanna earlier, the comments about getting that parking down there at Enon Park kind of put a little thought in my head. So we are going to hold our National Night Out event down at the Enon Park this year rather than the Green and School. That is our plan. I spoke with the administrator, and we have some electric down there at one of the shelter houses, and I think that with all the room and then with the parking that's coming, I think it'll be adequate space, and I think it'll be a nice contribution to that park. And so we're going to try that, putting together a committee of officers this year rather than supporting it by one. Last year we had some new folks training and we're a little short, but this year I think we're going to have a little bit more of a jump start on it. So, and also spoke with 7-Eleven at that last meeting, and they had advised that they would be able to provide some staffing this year, where in the last couple of years they weren't able to due to COVID and then just the changing of some of the company stuff. So I look for this year to be a little bit bigger and have a lot more planning and participation, but we always will take help from the community and or any employees. The whole point of that is for the community to come out, have interaction with law enforcement, understand our job a little bit, answer questions. We can, even the community can answer questions for us and just have a good, nice night. And then also, as usual, we have the donated prizes where we do raffle off to help sell tickets to raise money for our Shop with a Cop that we have annually in December. So.
And we did have originally the National Night Out down at Enon Park, and that was years ago. I don't know whether you guys remember it or not, but and it was, in my opinion, very successful. But if we have that designated area for people to park, if that gravel's in place, it's going to make it, so, as you know, so much easier for everybody. It's going to be an ideal location.
Yeah, and I think
So-
and it is a community-based park, and then we don't,
Yes.
the school doesn't have to worry about providing a staff member for
Right.
having the buildings open, and I will have some porta potties and stuff there. So again, I have been told it was at the park a long time ago, but that was before me. However, that being said, we'll go back to the basics. We're going to try it out. So to be determined, and that is, by the way, is always the first Tuesday in August. So this year it will be August 6th. I believe, if this calendar is correct, which it should be, because it says 2024 on it.
Can I just make a comment about National Night Out is actually countrywide. It's across the nation.
It is a national, yes, it's a national event,
national.
that is correct.
And is it
Well,
national for the
National
first
Night
Tuesday in
Out.
August for everybody, or do different states
Same.
have?
There are
Different
some
times.
agencies, yes, so that is the night, that
Okay.
is the designated night. However, there are some law enforcement agencies that do it on a different night because they, I don't know, for whatever reason, because other places have it. But we traditionally always had it on the traditional night, and then we'll continue to do that, so.
Good deal.
And the agencies that can come and help support ours, we appreciate it, but if they can't because they've got their own community events, we're fine with that too. So we do send out all the invites, and we also invite the base and a few other, I call them support staff, because I mean, you have your mental health, and then your health department, and obviously the fire department, EMS are big co-workers in the law enforcement field, so we just bring them in because why not?
One year we had the Batmobile.
Yes, we
I
had
got
the
to ride in
Batmobile
it.
one year.
Yeah.
It's like-
That's pretty
True
cool.
crime fighters. That was a former Chief Wilcox knew somebody. Being as the springtime and summertime, and a lot of people are having the garage sales and your typical, nice festivities that go out into wanting to put up signage and advertise. I just wanted to let citizens know that hanging signs on our utility poles is a big no-no. We cannot do that. If you have hung one on a utility pole and you see an officer removing it, it's because they're not allowed there, and we remove them to help street department and stuff keep up with that. But I have noticed a few throughout the village, and we have taken some down, but I just ask that the community, if you have a question, please reach out to the administrator office, and they will let you know where it's okay to put the signs, but our utility poles and such are not appropriate. So if they're there, we will take them, and they are discarded. So I just wanted to let the community know that it's nothing personal. It's just we're trying to help out. I know the street department has not all of us can get around, but we try to keep eyes out on it too. So I just wanted to pass it on to the community. Other than that conclude my report.
Good report. Questions for our chief?
Pet peeve, once again this time of year, people blowing their grass out on the roadway. for motorcyclists being a problem, and for vehicular traffic, it's a pain in the butt. And if we could try to be cognizant of that, and if our officers see somebody, at least we did have those gentle persuaders to be a good neighbor flyers a few years ago that we passed out.
We did.
You know, I haven't seen them. We're dropping back in that habit again this year, but if people could not do that, it would be much appreciated.
And when we do see that, I have stopped personally a handful of times. There is a time frame. I believe it's 20 minutes, but I have to check the ordinance. But they have, is there people purposely do blow it out there? A lot of your lawn care, but they do take the handheld blowers. But yes, good point. Please get that out there. But so for the most part, I haven't seen that for a while. But if you are seeing it, please let us know and we'll address it.
And that's what I was going to say. There is that little period, even if somebody mows the grass, goes in, takes a quick break, and comes back out. So you got to be careful. But if it's been out there for a few hours, then that's a problem.
Yep.
So thanks, Rick, for bringing that up. Any other questions? Okay, thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
And old business, Mr. Hannah, Enon Park.
Okay. Recently, we've been through multi-stages of trying to get the park actually rolling forward. And we have now taken the step to have bids put in on a gravel access road that would run from the south side of Suburban Propane north of Warden's Ditch along the west side of Suburban Propane, tying it back into the Enon Park proper, which comes down to about 550 foot by about 375 foot of access, gravel access roadway that we want to have put in. And along with that, while the contractors are there, we're having 125 foot by 300 foot area skimmed back behind the water treatment plant and where it used to be the old soccer fields. We are going to turn that into a parking lot so we could supply the topsoil back where we need it more. We get a parking lot there where we can do food trucks, we can do National Night Out, we can start having people come in to experience the park. So between for lack of a better term, this phase one of the access road and of skimming the former soccer fields, we had 2 bids come in. We requested bids from at least 3 contractors. Town trustee Todd Pettit, supposedly had a couple other contractors he was interested in, but they did not supply us a concrete bid. We ended up with 2 bids. One was from MR Excavating, which is a local contractor. The second was from TL Holtzen, which is out of New Carlisle, a local contractor. On the 2 bids that we had for somewhat the same work, different long-term goals, I guess, in where the bids come in. The MR Excavating came back with a bid of $30,000 for this. Holtzen came back with a bid plus or minus around $88,000, but they were putting considerably more man hours and work into the project itself. With that, what I would ask my fellow council members to approve a motion or to make a motion that we move to grant MR Excavating the initial bid of $30,000 in order to get this process started. I have received and given Kevin the workers' comp verification from them. I was in contact with the insurance company for them today to provide their bonding and their insurability proof for us. So what's necessary for that, the village would look at, they've met at this point or will meet. Since it is under $75,000, there doesn't really necessarily have to be a formal bid at this point, but to be the good facilitators of the village's monies, we did want to have 3 bids, and our third person backed out saying they couldn't do the work in the time frame we were looking at. So once again, I'd entertain a motion to grant the $30,000 bid to MR Excavating.
With those funds to come out of the ARPA?
Yeah.
Yes.
And theirs was sorry, strictly to skim the topsoil, move it to the back. It has no gravel work.
Yes, all the gravel work. Now, the township and the village will provide the gravel material itself.
They're going to do the gravel.
They'll spread
as
it,
well.
they'll compact it.
Okay.
What specifically they said is they'll strip sections of topsoil for the parking lot and service driveway, create a beauty mound, which basically will be mounting the topsoil over on the south or on the west side of Suburban Propane. Spread gravel, roll gravel with vibratory roller. The estimate does not include the gravel material, which Trustee Pettit is working on that side of it.
It's everything but the material, right?
Exactly. And knowing that this will have to continually be updated as we bring trucks in and there'll be natural wear and tear off of it. But this gets us rolling. And if we can get this motion through, then I'll go ahead and add something in before when we close.
I'll move that we go with MR Excavating for the
$30,000 bid.
$30,000 bid.
A second.
Any further discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Whitaker,
Yes.
Mr. Avery,
Yes.
Mr. Hannah,
Yes.
Ms. Sweet,
Yes.
Mrs. Sweet, Ms. Least, I'm sorry,
Yes.
Mrs. Sweet,
Yes.
Mr. Bear.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, that motion does pass.
And that's a big step for to finally get some dirt turning down there. And it'll be nice to see. The second part of that will be that very shortly. I've talked to Mr. Seifert, and we've also talked to the township about using some of their equipment. We'll be placing the walkway around the perimeter of the facility down there, which will come up about 1.75 mile between some of the road grindings. But a lot of that is already in there now, where it can actually be a natural walkway back along the perimeter along Warden's Ditch, and then come back to the park. So excited to see the park actually start bringing people in there. I think once that we get that walk trail in there and people start seeing some of the beauty that we've got up on the south part of the property on the hill to overlook that entire valley, it's a nice step forward for the village. So
Thanks again, Rick, for your work on this.
appreciate it. Oh, Citizen of the Year too. You want to talk about it?
No, go ahead.
Okay. I thought we, let's see, when was that? That was on
Sunday, the 19th?
19th.
19th, yeah.
On the 19th, Village Council was very prominent in the Enon Citizen of the Year and Young Student of the Year festivities at the church on Snyder Road. Miss Allie Hunley and
Lynn
Lynn,
Tranter.
Tranter.
yeah, received their awards. It was very well populated, and there were several local celebrities or people of notoriety there. So
Yeah, it was a good turnout.
all in all, a good. Almost everyone on council was there. We had a good turnout from the village itself. So
And thank you for helping me this year. Appreciate it.
appreciate it. Yeah, we got through a couple of the rough spots, forgetting about council.
Minor detail.
Yeah, you know it. If I didn't screw up, you wouldn't know it was me. So
Thanks, Rick. We do have an executive session scheduled for this evening, so I will take comments from the public. Public? Yes. State your name and address, please.
Russell Graham. I
Russell.
actually live outside of town. I'm here on behalf of the VFW, Post 8437. First, I'd like to thank the village and the police department for assisting us this last Sunday for our parade. We did have a few no-shows due to the weather, But luckily, we got everything done. We got our ceremony finished. Maybe a little prematurely as the raindrops and thunder started rolling through, but we got it. And once again, thank you. I do have one request tonight. Everybody talking about the 4th of July. I'm here to also ask for a donation from the village again. I'm hoping you'll match last year's donation. The township has volunteered $2,500 this year. So I'm hoping you can at least match that again.
I think that's what we did last year, wasn't it, Russ?
Yes.
Okay.
Several of the last years. I'll move that we put $2,500 towards the 4th of July fireworks.
Second.
Is there any other discussion on it? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Avery,
Yes.
Mr. Hannah,
Yes.
Ms. Least,
Yes.
Mrs. Sweet,
Yes.
Mr. Bear,
Yes.
Mr. Whitaker.
Yes.
Thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
Thank you very
is
much. We
one of the biggest
appreciate it.
events in the community is the 4th of July fireworks.
Everybody here loves it, and thank you again for your donation.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Anybody else? Okay, I would entertain a motion and a second to enter into executive session to discuss the employment and compensation of village employees.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Hannah,
Yes.
Ms. Least,
Yes.
Mrs. Sweet,
Yes.
Mr. Bear,
Yes.
Mr. Whitaker,
Yes.
Mr. Avery.
Yes. 6:32. Executive session.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Ms. Least,
Yes.
Mrs. Sweet,
Yes.
Mr. Bear,
Yes.
Mr. Whitaker,
Yes.
Mr. Avery,
Yes.
Mr. Hannah.
Yes. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Yeah.
Meeting adjourned. I know everybody's
See you guys.
got